it's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Absolutely, and great to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. Yes, we will talk about the NFL because it is NFL opening night. But it's Thursday, and Thursdays on Sports Wrap, no matter what, means we're talking baseball. Former reliever and closer David Aardsma will hang out with us. Former reliever and starter Joba Chamberlain will also be with us. The first time we've tried a four-way conversation on the show. It should be fun. So we got that coming up a little later on in the program. We start things out in the NFL, though, and Sam Yarnell is here, and so is NFL season, Sam Yarnell. Happy NFL opening day to you, sir. We gave our NFL playoff predictions yesterday on the show, and we gave you our division winners. And for those that didn't get to watch it yesterday, here they are on the screen. People can look and see for themselves. This is who we got going to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, or going to the playoffs, I should say. But Sam, with the NFL season ready to begin, I am dying to know your prediction for the Super Bowl this year in San Francisco, or Santa Clara as it would be. Tell me, who do you have going to the Super Bowl?
All right, Jason, my long-awaited Super Bowl matchup, which I have given out in other places. I won't even lie that I can't say that this is the first place that I've given this out.
How is that possible? We should be the first ones to get your Super Bowl prediction.
Listen, the Prince of Picks is a highly in-demand guy.
So.
I'm doing podcast appearances. I'm on they're asking me to have on other shows. People are asking for the Prince of Picks Super Bowl picks. So I got to give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to lose you.
I mentioned yesterday that I do think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the AFC West again. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to make it to their 7th straight AFC title game. I think they are going to win their 6th of those 7 AFC title games. I'm going to take the Chiefs to make it back to the Super Bowl as I did last year. The fact of the matter is, as much as I think there are 3, if not 4 better teams than them in the American Football Conference, the fact of the matter is the Chiefs have shown you over this long run that they clearly have some sort of something about them that puts them in the Super Bowl every year. And I'm a betting man, and I'm not going to bet against that. So give me the Kansas City Chiefs to take on and lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am drinking the Tampa Bay Kool-Aid this year.
Clearly we don't drug test on this show.
And I absolutely love this Tampa Bay team. If you want to bet the matchup, you can find it on a couple of different sports books out there, as high as 300-1 for the Chiefs and the Buccaneers to meet in the Super Bowl. I bet the Buccaneers when they were 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. That number has since come crashing down. I believe it's in the area of 27-1 at the current juncture. Listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are a team that is deep on both sides of the ball. I know they lost Liam Cohen. I'll tell you this right now. Mike Evans has shown you over the course of his career, it does not matter in that Tampa Bay offensive system. They are going to get production out of their wide receivers. I love Tampa Bay this year. I love their young pieces. I said I love their skill on defense the other day on the show. I really do think this is the year where Tampa Bay can get over that hump and go on a Cinderella run that leads them to another Lombardi trophy. I love the Bucs this year.
I am speechless. I think Tampa Bay's a playoff team. I won't argue with you there. You're stretching to get them into the Super Bowl, though. You are stretching to get them into the Super Bowl. I mean, the bright side is, I think the NFC became that much more challenging with the additions Green Bay made in this offseason, and obviously the one they made just before the start of the season. My pick, I am with you on Kansas City. Until somebody beats them, you're an idiot not to pick them. You ride the horse until she bucks, or you don't ride at all. So, for me, it's still Kansas City in the AFC. As much as I make fun of you for taking Tampa Bay, I do think the NFC playoff picture is one that, much like baseball this year, if you get in, you can win.
Yep.
If you get in, you can get to the Super Bowl, because the path in the NFC, there is no foregone conclusion there. Even if you believe Philadelphia is a great team, are they infallible? No.
They were one drive away from losing the divisional round to the Rams last year.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the Rams, because my pick to come out of the NFC is going to be the Rams. I think again, much like you, who, you're saying Tampa Bay, and I could sit there and scoff at it. There will be a lot of people that look at me and scoff and say, the Rams, who are plus 950 to make it out of the NFC, not even to win the Super Bowl. We're just talking to make it out of the NFC. They are plus 950 right now. If you want to take the Rams to win the Super Bowl, by the way, you can get them at 20-1 right now. I think that's a number with some value, folks. But to me, it's about the Rams. I love Los Angeles. I am a big fan of the way this roster is constructed. I think they are built to withstand time without Stafford. If you talk to a lot of people, Jimmy Garoppolo's actually looked pretty good. Throughout training camp in the preseason. I think there's a belief that they don't have to have Matthew Stafford on the field every single game this year, and they'll still be able to make a run. I think the division lends itself to them being able to win some games. I think they're definitely in the playoffs. I think I had them winning the division in our predictions yesterday. I'm pretty sure I did. I like the Rams. I think it's Kansas City and the Rams, a battle of two veteran quarterbacks with Stafford, trying to win one more Super Bowl. And obviously we know what Patrick Mahomes has done throughout his career. I like the Rams and the Chiefs to meet up in the Super Bowl this year. I think you can look at any number of teams right now when we talk about the NFC. Philadelphia at plus 370, the Lions at 6-1, the Packers at plus 650, the Niners at plus 850, which I'm not buying in on the Niners. I know you are, at least for the regular season. Even the Commanders at 10-1 wouldn't be a crazy pick to me. If the Commanders are in the playoffs and you want to play that team in the postseason, absolutely not. So that's kind of where I'm going. I'm going with the Rams and the Chiefs to meet up at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. Sam Yarnell, any final thoughts before we get to the baseball?
The only thing that would hold me back from the Rams is that I do think if Jimmy Garoppolo plays during this season for an extended time, Devontae Adams is as good as gone.
I don't know. I think guys figure out a way to make it work when you have to. And we had Matt Verderame on, and he said, they seem to be fine so far in training camp, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, we're coming back. We got baseball, Joba Chamberlain next. This Thursday edition of SportsWrap continues. Good to have you all with us across the U.S. and Canada and wherever you might be watching online. Thursdays are about baseball on this show, even if the NFL is kicking off the season. And we'll talk some NFL with our baseball guests today. And I say guests because we have two for the price of one. David Aardsma is always here. But this guy is not usually here. Joba Chamberlain, former Yankee, former reliever, former starter. David Aardsma, of course, played with him. They rehabbed together. And I mean like physical rehab, not like the bad kind of rehab. Sam is also here hanging out with us as we go through a whole bunch of baseball and some football because it is opening day. We were just talking about in the opening segment the fact that it's the opening of the football season. I asked Joba ahead of time, are you okay talking about a little bit of football? He said absolutely. He's got Dylan Raiola out there at Nebraska that everybody's excited and fired up about, except Joba, who's not as fired up and excited about him. Apparently, you're not into him yet. You're not buying it yet.
Well, I'm bought in a little bit just because it's Nebraska and we've not been great for a lot of years. We finally won our first bowl game in 8 years, I think. So we're making steps. This is Rule's third year, and we've seen what he's done at Baylor and at Temple in his third year. So. It's we're the home of Kool-Aid, and people are definitely drinking the Kool-Aid around here. But I'd like to see us win a big game, and then you know what? I got a foot on. I'm not quite stepped in yet, but I'll still watch it. And as I sit here and drink with my Nebraska mug, it never seems to go away.
Do you have an NFL team?
Not really. It's weird because everybody asks that now that you get into fantasy and you do all those things. But it was kind of when I was younger. It was more so it's what team does the guys from Nebraska play for? So
All right.
that's the ones you really follow just because, I mean, the closest we had was the Chiefs and then obviously the Broncos when they came and moved. And so it was more like I was a Niners fan because like Rathman, Roger Craig, and all those guys. And then once I got to the big leagues, it was more talking trash about what college you went to, and then just your buddies that you met along the way, and just cheer for them. But I don't necessarily have a so uncalled like team. Now it's my fantasy team. So who is ever on?
Fair enough. How many fantasy leagues are you in?
You know what? I usually like 2 is my maximum just because
Okay.
I want to enjoy the game without like always being like, oh, or like on my iPad or whatever.
Sam's in 4, right, Sam? 5?
You're a
5. I have my
psychopath.
last draft tonight.
And Aardsma, how many are you in?
I'm in 4.
And I'm in none. I refuse to do season-long fantasy. I'll only do DFS.
Oh,
Yeah,
I have one team. You gotta get in one
Nope.
league.
Nope. And nobody invites me. Nobody likes
that
me,
might be
so
what it
I don't
is.
get any invites. So I'm not doing it. How's that, Joba? The first thing I got to ask you about, and I thought 2 nights ago when I saw this Framber Valdez César Salazar thing, I said I got to ask Joba about this. It had to be intentional, right? There's no way with PitchCom, and I know you didn't get to experience PitchCom, but with PitchCom, there's no way that wasn't intentional, right?
I go back and look, and obviously, listening to all the baseball shows and the armchair quarterbacks, like we like to call them on the good old social medias. Yeah, hey, it's, you know what, it pays me and it's fun listening to people, so it's great. So it's something that entertains me on the daily. But I tried to look beyond just the pitch. Obviously, him telling him to step back, whatever. It was really awkward. Salazar's interview afterwards, like he was obviously pissed off. You could tell, and be like, "Oh, PitchCom. There's a lot of Yankees fans. PitchCom may not work." Which I got to know PitchCom because they use it in high school. So like I was asking my son questions, like and the coaches have their little thing, and like I'm like, "What this like Carter? Just call your own game. Like this is stupid." And so, but going back, just like if you watch Framber's literally like body language on the 0-0 pitch. It was a non-competitive pitch, which we usually call an NCP for short, and then comes back with a 93 middle sinker and turns away. Like we know as pitchers, and Arj, you know this as well as I do. Like when you cross, you feel like crap. Like you're like, oh, because sometimes the shadows are bad. Like at the dusty games or whatever. PitchCom, obviously, I didn't deal with that, and hold your head up. Can you hear? Can you not hear? Don't know how it is. Obviously, they played it to where you can kind of hear what it sounds like. But the way that he just reacted, obviously, they do the press conference afterwards, and he's like, no, that's the pitch I wanted. But if you look at his body language and how, like, he reacted to it, like, when you do it, it's like immediately, like, you call him out and be like, hey, that's on, like, where did I miss that? Did you miss that? That's on me. And you do that right away. Just, you don't let it linger. And then to see Salazar's reaction, like, as he gets up and he kind of looks. And the best was, I don't know if you guys saw Volpe. He was like, like what happened here? And everybody's like, well, if he'd have swung, it wouldn't have been a non-issue.
That's what Sam said. That's exactly what Sam said. Sam's like, he should have swung.
If only he swung at 93 middle, Anthony Volpe. Oh, well, then we
Perfect
wouldn't be
Volpe.
talking about any of this.
That sums up Volpe's season.
By the way, have you not watched when he's not swinging middle? Dude, like his last at bat on the changeup, like I could probably, I took some bad swings in the big leagues, but my swing could have looked just as
You
bad.
were a good hitter back in the day, though.
I mean, I went to college too, but then I'm glad I switched because that was not fun. I don't remember his name, but we were in Arizona. He was throwing like 98, and I literally swung when the ball was in the catcher's net. Like it was the most embarrassing. I had Aardsma number text messages on his phone. There was like, and all my buddies were like, "What was that? Did you freak out?" I was like, "No, I really didn't see it." To be honest, I was ahead 2-0, and he throws me a 2-0 slider, and I'm like. Then I think to myself, I'm like, why do I give these guys this much credit? And then I was like, this
2-0 slider.
2-0 slider. I literally rush in. This is when Goldie was like on his MVP tear in Arizona, and I'm pitching in Detroit, and they're like, "Hey, you've got Goldie. He's the next hitter." And this is like in the 7th. So I'm just now getting loose, getting ready to set the ball up for Joe. And they're like, "Goldie's the next hitter you have." I threw a first base curveball, ground out, 6-4-3 double play, get out of it. I'm like, sweet, here we go. And then they're like, "Hey, you're due up third." And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, I think I grabbed Miggy's batting gloves. I grabbed something, and I'm like, I'm out.
You're another one of these athletes with like insane recall, like that being able to remember. I can't remember what I had for breakfast on Monday, and the like insane recall of athletes always blows my mind. We're going to continue the conversation. Joba Chamberlain's hanging out with us, David Aardsma, Sam, myself. Sports Wrap every Thursday. We go heavy with baseball on the show, even on the launch of NFL season. Don't worry, we got more NFL to come a little later on. Lots to do on this Thursday Sports Wrap. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show, and it is a show today with Joba Chamberlain hanging out with us, along with David Aardsma. I didn't even know the two of them played together when I set this up originally. It was just dumb luck on my part. David, we were talking about the Framber Valdez, César Salazar moment from the other night, so I want to get your take real quick before we move on.
I think Joba hit it perfectly on the head. It's the reaction. It's Framber Valdez's reaction. Salazar's looking for something. Like, hey, dude, what happened? He turned his back immediately. I know a lot of times you throw that pitch, you hit him, you kind of freeze and you go, oh, that's on me. Like no matter what it is, it's on you because the catcher put something down and you saw something different. I know Framber talked about trying to say, that was the pitch I wanted, right? That's the pitch I wanted. I didn't really hear anything else. But that's still on you. Like that, even at that moment, you got to go up there. And it still seemed like after the game, they hadn't even talked about it. They hadn't addressed it. Like that should have happened on the field. If not, the moment you walk in the dugout, that you get that third out, you walk right over your catcher, you grab him and say, my bad. You say you do something. So that's showing me that there is a bigger disconnect than what we just saw. There's a bigger problem there than just one pitch.
Yeah, it was weird too. I mean, and obviously, and people will say whatever they want, but there's no language barrier there. They both speak Spanish, so that's sometimes too. And I mean, I get it. Trust me. Like, there's been times where they understand it, but just sometimes the dialect that we use sometimes just doesn't vibe. But so yeah, it was very weird. He even said too. Framber was like, yeah, I went up and said something to him once we got in. But then it's still afterwards, it just felt like Salazar was disconnected in some way because it looked like he was still pissed, if you're asking me. And I would be too, because it's like, hey, man. And then it was, I can't remember, I think it was on MLB Central or something. And D-Ro was talking to, Brian McCann. He's like, hey, at that point, the catcher just he needs to just tell the umpire, hey, I need time. Well, I mean, it's bases loaded. It's easier said than done when you're on the bump 60 feet 6. For me, it's like, hey, that's the last thing I'm thinking of because I'm trying to think of executing a pitch and not give up a grand slam, which in lieu what he did. So it's not on the catcher to get, and that doesn't mean he's going to be granted too. That could throw it off even more so because you're not always granted time.
Right.
So if he's already going now, it throws everything else off. And now you reset and get whatever. So, sure. Yeah, it doesn't look good. And everybody was kind of questioning, is there some underlying stuff behind the scenes that is going on? I don't know. We're not in the clubhouse. I have no idea. But you don't see that very often. And that's what makes it weird.
Plus, in today's age, we don't know. I don't remember at the moment how many timeouts they had to even how many times they could step off the mound. I don't know how many within that at bat too. So it's not like back when we played, you just step off, call time, go out and talk whenever you wanted. So there's those stuff like that's a lot more now on the pitcher of having to control some of those things that a catcher used to just go time and walk out, where you got to be able to step off and own it, take that moment.
Joba, something that Dave. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying I agree because now it's like it's hard enough to pitch, and it's like, hey, did I disengage with the rubber twice? Like, did I just step off? Okay, does that count? And then at the same time, it's like, hey, do we really want to waste? We've only got like 3 left. Do we want to waste one trying to figure out? Because, and I think sometimes too, and Sam, sorry to cut you off, but I think sometimes too, when they're holding up like, hey, this doesn't work, because they don't show the umpire like, hey, this isn't working. It's kind of just a break to give them. So, I mean, I would do it like that. I'd be like, oh, this ain't working. Like, give me a new one, even though you know it is. You're just, yeah, like, I can't hear it. So it would, I don't know. I wouldn't like it. I know that because just seeing the way it works, and there've been times where I've seen innings blow up because they can't get one to work. And this was like, it went on for like 6 minutes. I can't remember who it was, but hadn't given up on a run. He gave up like a 4 spot because his rhythm and everything, it just throws it off. Hey, throw some fingers down. Those aren't broke. The stupid technology isn't. It's like, it's great. We get new cars. There's more technology. It's cooler stuff. But one thing goes wrong, now the whole thing falls apart. If your fingers aren't broke, I can see those. Wiggle them, do it. I got it. It makes it so much easier. But I'm old school and nobody likes that anymore.
Second shake first. We can figure this out.
Yeah, or just throw it down. Who cares? Hit it. I don't care.
Your stuff's that good. Sometimes this is a real honest truth. If your stuff is that good, just trust it. Like, it will still be good enough, even if they know what's coming. There's plenty of pitchers in the big leagues that pitch like Cliff Lee. You knew what pitch he was throwing every single pitch. Still got out. Sometimes trust your stuff, and these guys don't trust it enough.
I mean, some of the best pitchers in the league right now, Tarek Skubal, they know he's going to throw the changeup. He still gets it by him. It's incredible. Joba, I'm curious to get your perspective in the last couple of minutes we have in this segment. Something David and I talk about frequently on this show is the prowess of the Brewers pitching organization and how quickly they can bring up these pitchers and make them incredibly successful major leaguers. I know Mizorowski's tailed off, but it seems like you go through that whole rotation, whether it's Quintana, whether it's Freddie, Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick. What have you seen from that organization as a whole to develop pitching and make them so successful?
Quinn Priester, former Yankee, by the way.
Yes, he was. Yep. Yeah, and you forgot, I mean, obviously Woodruff come over and then he's not throwing as hard, but his stuff is still good and he'll go get you. But it is very interesting because you look back and it's like everybody has this opportunity, right? Why does one system work better than the others? And you see the advantages that everybody has. Are they more analytical, which is a whole nother topic that I want to throw under the rug. There is a place for it, but not the way it is now. I think they focus more on, I think, developing the pitcher and the fact that from what I've heard, they don't focus on pitch counts. It's like getting outs and how the pitches relate to, because you could throw 84 pitches, but those could be a stressful 84. And I mean, like, hey, you can only throw 90. And I just use that as an example because you've seen in instances where a lot of these teams either cut a guy off or they only allow him to throw 90 pitches where they don't ever get a chance to get through an inning and like know what that's like to grind and get through it. It's like when you talk to these old school guys, it's like, oh, 6 innings, 3 runs, that's a quality start. No, that's a crappy start for us. So, we wouldn't be in the 7th inning. And I think it's just now with the way bullpens have been created and have shortened the game with the amount of arms that you have now, I think that there are very few guys as starters that have that ability to basically be like, no, I'm going until you literally are going to have to take this out of my hand. Like,
Joba Chamberlain's hanging out with us. We're going to do another segment with him. David Aardsma is here. Sam is here. We're talking baseball every Thursday on SportsWrap. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to do. All right, we're talking more baseball. Joba Chamberlain hanging out with us, former big leaguer. David Aardsma, he played a bit too. Every Thursday on SportsWrap, we talk baseball, even when it's the start of NFL season. And don't worry, we'll get some NFL opinions out of these guys as well. Joba, you brought it up at the end of the last segment. Sort of, the inning restrictions, and we were talking about Mizorowski and all of that. I mean, it feels like you were the start of that. It feels like you were I know, but it feels like maybe they did it with other guys.
Baseball. Good job.
But it feels like you were the first one. Like the Joba rules is what sort of set the standard for babying guys, so to speak. How did you react to it in the moment versus the way you look back at it now?
It was pretty easy to react to it because I was in the big leagues in less than 3 months, and it had never been done. So something you always dream of as a kid. I was a Braves fan growing up, obviously being in Nebraska because TBS and the Braves were on all the time. But you knew who the Yankees were in the history and what have you. But yeah, I mean, looking back at it, if I knew what I knew now, it would have been a lot different. But what are you going to say as a kid that was just drafted, hadn't spent a year in the organization at all, and now you're in the big leagues pitching for a chance to go to the playoffs? Like I had no leg to stand on. It's like you could have told me to fold towels or get water. If I was in the big leagues, I was in the big leagues, and so there was really nothing I could say. And if I was 5 years down the road, then yeah, maybe I have some validity to talk about, like, hey, this isn't good, like the back and forth. I never went down to AAA to ever build my innings up. I would be in spring training and be like, hey, you're going to make 4 starts. We're going to move you to the pen, or hey, we're going to start you in the pen. You're going to make 3 or 4 starts, and we're going to skip a start. You're going to throw an extra bullpen, blah, blah, blah. So there was back and forth for 4 years pretty much. So there was never really anything. I wish I would have known, obviously, like they did it to protect me from blowing out. I blew out anyway. Like, so if you're going to blow out, you're going to blow out. They said Tim Lincecum would never make it. Guy won 2 Cy Youngs and never had arm trouble. They said Steven Strasburg had the perfect mechanics. Mark Pryor had the perfect mechanics. What happened to both of them? They blew out. So there's no rhyme or reason. There's obviously the Tom Houses of the world and whatever, and inverted expert, whatever it is. But you look at the injuries now compared to what they were back then. Completely different. And is that a coincidence? I don't know.
If you could say anything to Cam Schlittler, who's the next Yankee fireballer, if you had a chance to talk to him, maybe you have, I don't know. If you had a chance to talk to Cam Schlittler as a young fireballing Yankee starter, future arm of the franchise, what would be the advice you would lend to him right now?
Oh, that's easy. And I did this to Wade Davis, and he turned into being an elite closer. And I told Wade that I'd tell the same thing to Cam. I go, I don't care what it is. You're in the big leagues. First of all, take that as a blessing and an honor to be able to be here with these men and do this and put this uniform on. Second of all, it is your career. It is not theirs. They're billionaires. You know what? They're playing a Monopoly billionaire board game. That's what they're doing. I go, this is your career. This is your future. This is your family's future. Whatever they want to have you do, sit down with them at the beginning of the year and say, I will do whatever it is, but I'm going to do that all year. I am not going to bounce back and forth. If you see me in the pen, I'm going to stay in the pen the entire year. There's no talking about it. There's no talking to my agent at All-Star break and be like, hey, we want to extend him. We're going to send him to AAA. No. Now, if we have that conversation at the end of the year and they want to move me back to a starter, then I have time to prepare because the training is completely different. So you sit down with them and you talk from Jump Street. Hey, we see you as a starter. Okay, I'm starting then. If I get to a certain amount of innings, I'm done. I'm not going to go back. My year starting, I think I had 28 starts. My last 4 starts, they came and told me you can only throw 2 innings, 3 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings. And at that point, I had nothing to say because I'm like, what do I say? And this was 2009. We ended up winning World Series. But I went to CC pissed. And I go, see, I can't win a game. I can only lose a game. I can give you the best I got. But what does that do for me? And at this point, analytics hadn't become huge in that. So it's like I was the only player to have more than 50 starts and 75 appearances out of the bullpen into arbitrations. Why I set a record in arbitration, because nobody had ever done it before. But that also cost me millions of dollars because of the back and forth.
All right, I got to get a couple of predictions here. Joba, give me a Super Bowl prediction. Who's going to the Super Bowl?
I'm going to go Bills.
Oh, Sam is excited.
Yeah.
Sam needs a towel.
I love
me and my Josh Allen cereal right here.
Oh yeah, he's a stud. Ali, That's the only one I just covered this on my show, and that's just like it's all here. And then once you get it all done, and then it's like it goes to the wayside because now you move on to something else. You're like, yeah, I had all this done. Now I'm like, okay, let me go back and look. What segment was this? But no, right off top, that's probably I have them winning it, to be honest with you.
Wow. David?
Lions, Bills.
What is it with all you Bills people?
Well, you know what it is? I love teams that have been.
The Lions have too much coaching discrepancy for me. Too much coaching discrepancy of all the guys that left. You're getting 2 new coordinators. That's tough. I think you're reaching on the Lions there, Art.
Joba, want to say thank you. This was a lot of fun. I hope we get to do it again sometime. Enjoyed having you on and hanging out with us. And hopefully we get to do it again. All the best to you over there in Lincoln. And when you get out to Vegas, let me know.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having me.
We welcome you back to this Thursday edition of the show. Odds and Ends wraps it up about 10 minutes from now. There is some basketball to talk about, but it isn't Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer that we're talking about this time. That story will have some time to play itself out now with the NBA investigating the claims of the Clippers potentially circumventing the salary cap with a side deal for Kawhi. Sam Yarnell, Angel Reese is in the news. We haven't talked a lot of WNBA in the last few weeks. It's been quiet. That's because Caitlin Clark hasn't been playing, but the playoffs are here. One team that will not be partaking in the playoffs, Sam Yarnell, is the Chicago Sky, who finished their season up last night and went 10-30 on the year. They went 3-15 after the All-Star break, not all that stellar. And then they had Angel Reese coming out and crushing the organization last night, talking about how she might have to take her talents elsewhere, Sam, if the organization basically doesn't make some upgrades. And then after a lot of criticism from her teammates and the organization for making those comments, Angel Reese did the old backpedal, which she clearly does better than shooting the basketball, and apologized for her comments. What are the chances we see Angel Reese in a Chicago Sky uniform next year, Sam?
I mean,
we were setting the number on it.
Well, listen, I wouldn't set a number on it. I'll tell you that right now, because the one thing that I have noticed as I've grown more into my young career and covered the WNBA more is that the transactions in the WNBA come at weird times, don't always make sense, and there's really no rhyme or reason seemingly to it outside of the trade deadline, which is like we got like 4 deals in the 2 days leading up to it, it seemed. I don't know what I would put the chances at. Listen, I'm going to go off of Angel Reese's comments and I'm going to say very low. Like it seems like that's there's a rupture that's been created within the organization that she may not be able to recover from. The Chicago Sky are a disaster. I mean, there's so much to talk about in the WNBA, Jason. Even outside of this, right? The Chicago Sky end a disastrous season and Angel Reese wants to leave. And we haven't even mentioned how the New York Liberty just keep on falling in the standings while the Las Vegas Aces were like, hey, everybody, let's get in Asia Wilson's backpack. We're going to 3rd place. They've won 12 straight. It's a great time of the year in the W right now, Jason.
Yes, it is. I will say this. If the Sky are smart, I think you trade her away. Because I don't know if her value is going to get much higher than it is right now. I mean, she's having herself, statistically speaking, as much as we like to talk about the fact that she can't hit the broadside of a barn, with a shot, she's averaging 14.7 points a game and a WNBA best 12.6 rebounds. She went 18-13 last night. I don't know how much more you're going to be. If there's a time to trade her because it's just not working out, you don't think you can build the team around, or whatever the reason's going to be, now's the time to make that move. Somebody's going to find value in that. So to me, I mean, that's the move I would make. She, by the way, got her 8th technical foul of the season in this game last night, which means she's going to miss the final game of the year against Indiana. So the WNBA can't win right now. First, they have Caitlin Clark out all year. Then, at least for the final regular season game, get Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark on the court together. Unless the league decides to pull back that 8th technical foul, which, wink, wink, nod, nod, they might, because they want to have Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark potentially on the court together, assuming Caitlin Clark plays in that game. But I think she winds up. I think she winds up somewhere else. I think she gets dealt in the offseason. And it's going to depend on where everything falls as far as the draft is concerned and all of that. But I think she winds up getting moved, Sam. I think there's going to be somebody out there that says, hey, in our system, with our team, with our group, we can sort of look, she's not getting away with that crap if she's playing in Las Vegas, for Becky Hammond's team. There are coaches in this league that I think you could bring in an Angel Reese and have her be less disruptive than maybe she has been in Chicago.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
New York.
I think that there is as much as we consider and talk about this might be the ceiling for her, and from a Chicago perspective, it's a great time to deal her. I do think there's an element of around the league that sees that a lot of the, and I know analytics and basketball don't always mix, and there's a large contingent of basketball fans that are anti-analytics, but Angel Reese is not an analytically good basketball player, right? A lot of her numbers are overinflated by her own lack of success, quite frankly. So as much as I would like to think that there is realistically a chance that we could be sitting here and, next year she's next to A'ja Wilson on the Las Vegas Aces, and they're running this Twin Towers system of A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese, and maybe they're the most dominant team in the league. That could I would like to believe that's the case. The fact of the matter is, I don't think if you put her next to A'ja Wilson, she would put up the same numbers she's putting up now.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. But at the same time, she's not going to demand the attention that she demands right now, being really one of the only true assets on that team.
You're right.
And you're going to have to kind of spread your bodies around, when you look at defending against that Aces team. Maybe. I don't know. But she's going to be somewhere else next year. I'd be shocked if she's in Chicago, the former number 7 pick in the draft. All right, we've got odds and ends around the corner. How do you spell redemption? AMANDA? I think we can go with that. We're coming back. Welcome back to the show. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Don't forget, Fridays, all about NASCAR. Our man Tino Patino drops by to preview this week's race. It's at the Enjoy Illinois 300. After Chase Briscoe's win last week in Darlington, get some thoughts from him as the playoffs continue. We will also get into the NFL. We've got Page versus the Prince, our NFL picks, our 4 NFL picks from Sam and myself, the first installment of that this season. We have that to get to. Robert Lital drops by, the founder of Black Sports Online. Talk about some of the top stories of the week as well. Some reminders for you. If you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast. It is the best of this show. It is this show as you watch it, except in its audio form. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, a whole bunch more. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can get this show commercial-free Monday through Friday. In addition to that, you can watch this show on almost 300 affiliates around the country and in Canada. But you could also watch this show every day on Spotify. And in addition to that, we have the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Won't you subscribe? Go and join the thousands that have done so already. Subscribe to the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. SportsWrap shorts are there when news breaks. We're covering it. Sometimes interviews run long, like the conversation we had with Joba Chamberlain today. that was actually a 40-minute conversation, which you're going to be able to watch on the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. A whole bunch of baseball talk and more on there with Joba Chamberlain. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Subscribe to that today. It's free, and it's great for us, so please do it. We appreciate it. Without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. How do you spell redemption in sports? Look, if we're going to come on here and do an entire segment talking about how Amanda Anisimova, the American, got slaughtered in the Wimbledon final by Iga Swiatek, 6-love. She got double bageled. If we're going to talk about that, then we have to spend at least a few minutes talking about the fact that she came back, faced Iga Swiatek yesterday at the U.S. Open in the quarterfinals. And not only did she beat Iga Swiatek, she beat her in straight sets. The second-ranked player in the world. Now, Anisimova is not chopped liver. She's all the way up to 8th in the world rankings. But the fact that she went in to that tournament just a couple of months removed from getting embarrassed at Wimbledon and was able to beat Swiatek to advance to the U.S. Open semifinals. I don't know if she winds up winning the tournament. She's going to have to beat Naomi Osaka, who I think she'll be an underdog against, and then potentially beat Aryna Sabalenka if Sabalenka advances to the final, which is never a given, but Sabalenka is playing some of the best tennis in this tournament. And she got a walkthrough in her quarterfinal match, so she's well rested. But say this, man, Amanda Anisimova, hats off to you, because a lot of people would just roll over and, figuratively speaking, die after that kind of beating, after that kind of whooping at the final in Wimbledon in front of a huge audience on national television to get beat the way she did. The fact that she didn't just come back, but came back and beat one of the best players in the world in Swiatek, I don't think we could say enough. So I don't know if she winds up winning the U.S. Open. It'd be a great story if she did. Frankly, her versus Osaka is a great story unto itself, because the comeback story of Naomi Osaka, a two-time Grand Slam winner, after winning those Grand Slams, taking a break, mental health issues, basically putting a pause on her career, having a child, and now being back in a position where when she gets deep into tournaments, she's really dangerous, and having an opportunity to win another U.S. Open would be an amazing story there too. So either way, I think you're going to have a great story in the final with either Osaka or Anisimova potentially in that final. A couple other quick things from the NFL before we go. The Giants have sold off I believe, 10% stake in the organization, the New York Giants, that is. Have sold off a 10% stake in the organization. But who they've sold it to is the more interesting aspect of the story. By the way, the $10 billion valuation on the Giants, based on the 10% that they're giving up to the Koch family, that is the political Koch family that we all know so much about over the years. David Koch passed away in 2019. His wife, the widow, Julia Koch, and the family, who has a net worth of $81.2 billion, has purchased a 10% stake in the Giants. Very notable, the Maras and Tishes giving up that 10% stake. One other thing before we go. How about the idea of Micah Parsons on the Philadelphia Eagles? As we get ready for opening night in the NFL, and by the time some of you watch this, opening night may have already taken place. The story today, ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting on it, that the Eagles actually tried to get Micah Parsons. Could you imagine if Micah Parsons had landed on the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, Jerry Jones in a million years was never going to allow that to happen. But could you have imagined a scenario where Micah Parsons was on the Philadelphia Eagles, wearing a different shade of green as this season started? Amazing. He winds up with the Packers. We'll see how healthy he is. Thank God the Eagles didn't get him. Teams in the NFC East would have been cringing. It's going to do it for us. Thanks to Joba Chamberlain, Sam Yarnell, and David Aardsma. We'll see you back here on Friday for an all-new Sports Wrap.